hello everyone, last time we have stopped here. So based on the mechanism of secretion or the way secretions leave the cell, exocrine glands divide into three. The one is apocrine glands, the other is halocrine glands, and the third one is merocrine glands. The most common gland from the three is merocrine glands. So apocrine glands are secrete their secretions discharged with the part of apical cytoplasm. So this type of glands are known as mammary glands. The other is halocrine glands. Their secretion is shed with the whole cell. This is apical cytoplasm. This is shed the whole cell. This type of glands are halocrine glands. An example is known as sebaceous gland, which is found in the ear. So the entire secretory cell along with its content is released. These are halocrine glands like sebaceous gland. So the other is the third type of gland is merocrine glands. Their secretions leave the cell by exocytosis. Examples are salivary gland, pancreas, parotid gland. So this is all about the epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue, and also lastly the gland, exocrine glands. So we do have four types of tissues. The one is epithelial tissue, the second is connective tissue. So the second type of tissue group is connective tissue. We do have four types of tissues. So the second is connective tissue, most abundant and most widely distributed tissue in the body. Four main class of connective tissue. In general, connective tissue also can be classified into four. One is connective tissue proper. CT stands for connective tissue. The other is cartilage, bone tissue, and blood. These four types are known as connective tissues. The other section is special characteristics of connective tissue. Special characteristics means conditions or characteristics which separates or differentiates from the other types of tissues. So the first is relatively few cells but lots of extracellular particles. For instance, this is cell, but cells are less, but extracellular matrix are lots, many. But in the case of, as I told you before, in the case of epithelial tissue, there is entirely of cells, or there are many cells but less or minimal extracellular matrix. But in the case of this, in the case of connective tissue, there is lots of extracellular matrix but less cells. So extracellular matrix means fiber plus ground substance. So extracellular matrix composed of ground substance plus fibers. Their common embryonic origin is mesenchyme. As we have seen before, the common embryonic origin for epithelial tissue is mesoderm, endoderm, and ectoderm. For in case of connective tissue, this is mesenchyme. So any connective tissue is made up of three elements. The one is ground substance, the other is fiber, the other is cells. So ground substance plus fiber is known as extracellular matrix. So ground substance equal to fiber plus extracellular matrix. Function and classification of connective tissue. It provides structural support for organs and cells. It protects and insulates internal organs. It compartmentalizes structures. It serves as medium for gas exchange of materials. Aids in protection against microorganisms and repair damaged tissues. Provides site for fat storage. This is all our functions of connective tissue in general. As we have discussed, there are four main class of connective tissue: connective tissue proper, cartilage, bone, and blood. Now we will see all this. When we see connective tissue proper, has also two subclasses: loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. Loose connective tissue contains fibroblasts, dense cells also macrophages, plasma cells, mast cells, and finally fat cells, which is white and brown adipose tissue. So